will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based.
Hi Mario, hi Surya, how are you guys?
How you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to all the people who are, in their EB1A journeys, and wish you a very Happy New Year and hope all your dreams come true actually. So let's start with the questions today.
Yeah, absolutely. So our first question is from an anonymous user. They say, hello, Ranjeet. Some background. I have a master's in computer science, which I want to use to petition for my EB1A. I also want to start a new program in nursing. Will it affect my EB1A when filing, or should I do PhD to remain in the same field?
I mean, it looks to me a very confused, kind of a gentleman or a lady actually, because the idea is not about EB1A. You don't get EB1A because of your master's or your PhD or because of the work that you have done. Essentially, you get EB1 because you are in the top of your field of expertise and you have created some good impact that impacts millions of people by virtue of your work that you have done. It looks to me that you are a young graduate right now. I mean, this is what it appears to me. And I think there needs to be a basic understanding about EB1A. I mean, I think I would like to say this because, I mean, if you want, you please reach out to us. We'll be happy to guide you or read about EB1A sessions, and reach out to Mario. We'll give you some free sessions that we have conducted on awareness on EB1A. Don't try to focus on EB1A solely. Try to become the best in your field. You don't want to become the best in your field because you want EB1A, because you love your field actually. And that's the key part here. So I would not like you to kind of focus on your EB1A solely. And yes, if you have a research orientation in your goal, please, definitely you should do PhD. But if you are thinking of doing a PhD because you want EB1A, that would be a very wrong choice actually. So let's kind of follow that actually, something which is more in order. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, let's move to the next.
Of course, the next question is, how should I show authorship of scholarly article? Should it be the first page of the article where I am mentioned as an author? And is the Google Scholar page sufficient as well?
Well, I think it is about producing evidence. It is not about the value of the article that you are talking about. So you are thinking that the authorship would help you for that. So I would like to kind of rather, more than focusing on, because it would be too technical for any officer to look at the entire article. If you can get some expert opinion on this, on the article that you have created, based on your authorship and what problem that it is solving, and what is the uniqueness about your article, some expert in your field could kind of speak about that. And the value about the article, you can give either a link along with, I think the first page should be sufficient. But don't just give the first page of the article or just like a Google Scholar page. That won't say anything about the value that or the impact of that article. So speak about focus on the impact, and this would just be an evidence. So I think that's what I would like to say here. So let's move to the next.
Absolutely. So this next question, they asked for peer review. Do you need to provide the certificates for the research work you reviewed, or do you need to show the email communication as well?
Again, I think this is getting into evidence. I would rather say that certificate for the research work is definitely a good thing. Email would establish the degree of your expertise, why you were selected in the first place to review. So I think the both would be important in my view actually. So because the idea is not that to show that you have done the work. The question is that why you were invited to do the work at the first place actually here. If you are able to do that, that is going to add a value for you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's,
Yeah.
let's keep that way. Okay. So let's move to the next.
Another aspirant asks, are there any unconventional recognitions that could potentially qualify as awards under the EB1A criteria?
Okay, I think it's a very interesting question actually. Unconventional recognitions that could potentially qualify as award. You see, let's understand what is a conventional achievement here. Conventional achievement is that there was a selection committee and there is an award is a recurring process, and somebody kind of a organization or an institution selected you based on some other candidates, and you were the best fit for that, and so you were selected. That's a very traditional way of doing it. So what could potentially be a unconventional and untraditional way of an award? Number one, you set up a company and you get some investments because of that. You get some grants because of your expertise or the nature of work that you're doing. That could potentially be a good kind of a way I would like to see that actually. I can say that that could be a potentially a way. It could blend into an area of a comparable evidence for awards, but still it would be a good bet. A couple of years ago, I would say in the year 2000, early 2000s, USCIS in its website did mention that venture funding or a private equity funding for a company of could be deemed as an award for a founder for the purpose of EB1A. In fact, they did mention that actually somewhere down the line. I think it's not there right now, but still, I'm not very sure whether this will work. But these are the unconventional ways. Today, if somebody were to come to me, I would place that in suggest that it could be placed as a comparable evidence. Number two would be that if, let's say, hypothetically, a governor of your state were to recognize you, or it could be not necessarily in India, or it could be in your country or in the US, but essentially you would get a government recognition, which is very unique in a way that the award or the recognition has been created specifically for you. It is not that you fitted into some awards or some recognition, that the recognition was created specifically for you. So that could potentially be a good award actually, in a very unconventional manner. But these kind of things, you don't, work for them. They happen by virtue of your work. So you don't have to kind of, look forward to make them happen. As I mentioned, I mean, these things will naturally follow if your work is impactful. So let's say, for example, there is a particular surgeon. I mean, he has done, let's say 1,000 cataract surgeries in a span of a couple of months, actually, in a year or something. Then he gets a recognition from a state or any government agency. That could be potentially deemed to be an award, let's say. So I think these are some of the unique things that could be field specific. So, I mean, there are infinite examples that could happen, which are traditionally not really an award. But if these kind of things, I would suggest we put it in, let's say, in a comparable evidence, actually, not really as a traditional evidence. Okay, so let's move to the next.
Certainly. So our next question, they asked, my employer had sponsored my EB1A application, but my priority dates are not current yet. Can I change the job or should I wait until I get my green card? Also, I want to know, can I travel to my home country now?
I mean, this crosses a barrier of a legal advice, actually. So I would suggest that, as I said, this discussion is not really an, kind of a legal advice. But what I'm understanding from here, that employer had sponsored your EB1A application, but the priority dates are not current yet. I think EB1A is the only exception visa category for this particular purpose. I would hesitate to say this, but this is, I mean, always please take a legal advice on this particular matter. But there is something called as a carrot letter or something like this, actually, which was issued as a clarification by USCIS in the year late 90s or something, actually, wherein they mentioned that it's since EB1A does not warrant a job, even if the employer had sponsored, this would be independent of employer. So some clarification does exist. But as I mentioned to you, please take an opinion from a lawyer on this particular matter. So if your job needs to be changed, unlike EB2, you may not require a fresh petition. So that petition and the priority may hold true. And as far as your travel to home country is concerned, I mean, again, as I said, this is a legal advice. I'm not qualifying myself to speak on that. So speak to a immigration attorney. Answer to that, I feel that unless and until your kind of adjustment of status is in question or has been filed, you can travel. And even if your adjustment of status is filed, you can apply for a travel document or advance payroll that will allow you to do that. So I think that's something I would like to say. Okay? Yeah. Let's move to the next.
The next question is, in my role as an IT expert, I've conducted numerous workshops at technology expos demonstrating innovative use of artificial intelligence. What evidence should I gather from these events to meet the showcase criteria for EB1A, and how can I highlight my leadership and pioneering contributions through these engagements?
It's a very complex. I mean, just because you did a workshop as a technology is not a showcase. Showcase has to be for a work product, actually. So what is the work? For example, if you have a patent and you spoke about your patent, that is a showcase. It has been a general talk, I mean, I would just say then it could be a conference, actually. If you have submitted a paper or something like this, if it is then because the element of creative aspect would have to be shown also here. It's a pretty complex. I don't see that even if you are a tech expert and innovative use of artificial intelligence that you have done, whether this would really qualify for showcase criteria like this. I mean, I think it is one of the most. There are two criteria which are most misused in today's time or misapplied. Number one would be an original contribution, where people think that any contribution which is deemed to be original would be an original contribution, even if it is for a company. I mean, I think that it is an original contribution to the field, not original contribution as such. Because you were the first person to do this, or you contributed something which nobody has done before, does not qualify it for the criteria. And second is a showcase, actually, where people believe that and tend to believe, and maybe rightly, that you hear say that, oh, you read social media forums and everywhere, and you start believing that, oh, any lecture that I give or any item that I present in a public forum becomes a showcase criteria. I think one of the most innovative, the most important aspect here is, what did you present? Was it your work product or not? So, for example, if you, if there is a patent that, as I mentioned to you, or even if it is not a patent, is there some kind of a prototype that you presented? It has to be in your field of expertise. How it is related to your field of expertise, you will have to demonstrate, actually. So then it will it will make sense. Otherwise, I would be very concerned on, the misconception that is being reflected by virtue of in this question itself, actually. Okay, so let's move to the next.
So I actually have a quick question following that. When it comes to the previous question of like unconventional recognitions, could that be categorized under a showcase if it were to be like a startup, or like showing how they get those grants or funds to their startup?
Not really, actually, because showcase, you have got a grant, and that is straightforward going as an award as a comparable evidence. It's a pretty showcase is something which is about a product, about a work product, actually. It's not about you getting a grant or something. It's an output. That would be yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the last question from the anonymous aspirant, they ask, for context, Mario, my proposal has been accepted at a reputable tech conferences, and I'll be presenting my work to a wider audience. I'm waiting to hear back from a few other conferences and applying to more. First, I would like to know, do these help in getting matched with any of the EB1A, and what kind of evidence should I gather from each of these conferences that would help when applying for my petition?
Good. I mean, if it is a tech conference, then who were the organizers? Who were the audience? What did you present? Can you document it? What problem did you envisage to solve? Was that problem being solved before? What was the innovation about your solution? And what impact did it create? I think if you can articulate that with evidence of some photographs and the documentation that you participated, that would be good enough. I think that's a pretty straightforward here. So I think wish you all the best. And there were wonderful questions today, especially the last one, actually. But I think one of the messages that I think based on the question that is worrying me, because 2 or 3 questions that came forward, is are based on some misconceptions about EB1A, that should not be there. So I would strongly urge people to kind of, be, don't just, kind of get informed by merely hearsay. Follow a certain kind of a learning that follows. Talk to an attorney, talk to an expert who would have kind of an information, because I think especially about this showcase criteria, or about I think this question on masters in computer science, wanted to do a program in nursing and all. I think it's a little kind of, it scares me off actually here. So please take care, and wish you all the best, and wish you a very happy new year. So have a wonderful day ahead, guys, and a wonderful year. Wonderful. Bye. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any further questions or need personalized guidance, please reach out to us. We are here to help you every step of the way in your journey towards achieving your American dream. Let's connect and make it happen together.